Going on, guys? Scott Hawksworth here, and in this video I wanted to talk about starting your mix the right way and on the right foot, because how you start your mix is how you'll finish it. And if you start with intention and with a, I guess, logical approach, and you start consistently, then you're going to find you have a lot more success when mixing. And it's a really key tip. So the first thing I would point out is typical starting points. So in any mix, you can start working on a variety of different elements, and different engineers will prefer to start on different things. Typically, those starting points are going to be either the bass, on your kick, or your snare, your toms, or your overheads. So notice those are four different drum elements. Or your string section going from the highest to the lowest, so violin to the bass, or the lead vocal or main instrument. So knowing those typical starting points, I think, is pretty key to effective mixing, because that gives you an idea of where a majority of people are starting. Another point would be to consider what is the genre of music, and if you're just mixing for yourself, you'll probably know your genre and be familiar with it. But if you're taking on clients or working in a lot of different genres, then you may want to make different choices based on that genre. For example, if it's jazz, then maybe starting with the main instrument is a better idea, because that is really going to be the main focus of this piece in a lot of jazz work. Meanwhile, if you're, say, working on dance music, starting with the kick might be the most logical thing, because that is one of those things that really cuts through the mix in dance music. Whatever you decide, the point is pick it and then stay consistent with it. So now I'm going to hand it off to Trina Shoemaker, Grammy-winning mixing engineer, and she's going to just show you how she starts with a vocal and starts working with a mix. And I think it's a nice example to kind of give you an idea of how a professional engineer does do things.
So I got to just start this thing, so the very first thing I'm going to do is turn on the vocal, because I want to see if I'm going to be mixing a clown or if I'm going to be mixing a good singer. But, before I even do that, just in case it's a bad singer, I'm going to go ahead and set up a reverb real quick, because if they're bad, I'm going to want to put reverb on right away just to get through it myself. But it might be a great vocal too. We just don't know. But let's find out. So I'm going to hit play. First thing I'm going to do is make sure that my speakers are down, because if you didn't get rid of that automation that I showed you, and there's some secret automation in here, and you hit play, something might go wham, and all of a sudden your speakers were on loud and you get a jolt of really loud music and it'll put you in a bad mood. So speakers are down, hit play, nothing is zooming up. I'm going to turn the vocal up a little bit. Now I'm going to go and turn my speakers up. That's a lot of reverb, son.
Got a horse and a train and a garden in the backyard.
It's a good singer, we can turn it off.
But it's a rotten paradise. At times I think I'm gonna die.
Now, I'm going to actually look at this dude's waveform.
Ain't on a map, you couldn't find me if you tried.
You know how you can get fooled? This little creepy thing. What if I turn this session on and it looks like that? I'll think, oh, good grief, the vocal's been recorded so loud. This is going to be a nightmare.
Ain't on a
No, it
map,
hasn't.
you could.
This is just waveform, how big the waveform is asked to look. This is your level. This is your only level.
Ain't on a map,
This vocal,
you couldn't find me.
it's actually recorded at a nice level. It's no problem. So I'm just going to zoom this back down to, that's a good view for me. I don't like to look at him too chunky. I know a dude who always mixes like this. He removes these, it's just always just big blocks. Isn't that weird? Anyway, so I'm going to bring it back down. This looks good to me. But I now know that my vocal is recorded at a known level to me, a known Pro Tools amount, a little bit in the yellow. For me, that says, that's pretty loud. Okay, so now I've understand that my vocal is already recorded. My vocal isn't playing back way down here like this.
Ain't on a map,
I'd
you
say
couldn't find
that's
me if
quiet.
you tried.
I'm not going to base my speaker volume on a
We got
track
a
that's
horse and
that
a
quiet.
train and a
I'm going to turn it up
garden in the
right here,
backyard.
right off the bat. I don't care if people say this is
But it's a
wrong.
rotten
I'm doing it.
paradise. At times I think I'm gonna die.
Just make that 0 again because it was actually fine. All right,
'Cause
here we
they
are.
try
Turn
to drag. I get
That is such a long reverb. Now I will have to address that quickly because that's just too long. This is not going to be the reverb. I might not even use reverb on this song. I'm just dialing something in because it amuses me right now to have a little verb on his voice. I may not put it on there. This doesn't matter. I'm going to pick one. But you know what has occurred to me right now? He has got a lot of P-pops on that vocal. A lot. That, before I even listen to anything else about this song, and I don't know this song. Actually, I secretly do know this song. But as if I didn't, I need to address that. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I don't do that every time. It's not like now I'm going to only listen to the vocal and address all of the low end problem. But because that's where I'm going on this mix right now, because that's going to be a problem.